Hello, hello. I forgot to turn on the subtitles, didn't I? There we go. Hello, how on earth are we today? How enough are we? How on earth? There we are. We can minimize that once more. That just there. Nice. How is everybody today? That's the point. I need to update something, don't I? $128. How many does that say? 126. Properties. Oh. And goal. $128 by the there we go. That's updated. Let's get to reading, shall we? Do we continue with the ones we were reading before from this lovely little book here? Let's shift those out of the way a touch. Yes, I think we will. Where do we wish to start from, though? Let's go with the little lark, that sounds nice. That's page 36. Hello, Kiwi, how on earth are you? 36. Cool, my tea looks nearly anemic in the video. That's a shame. Had to push back stream to 5:30 because you work. Yeah, I can understand that. I must admit, I'm still tempted to go out and find an actual job as well. Use this as something to top up. Redeemed ASMR for an ASMR stream. Funny. I like it. Anyway, as we were... What was that? Don't worry, I'll refund that at some point. Little lark. I hear pretty bird, but hark, I cannot see anywhere. Oh, it is a little lark, singing in the morning air. Little lark, do tell me why you are singing in the sky. Other little birds at rest have not yet begun to sing. Everyone is in its nest, with its head behind its wing. Little lark, then tell me why you are so early in the sky. You look no bigger than a bee in the middle of the blue. Up above the poplar tree, I can hardly look at you. Little lark, do tell me why you are mounted up so high. 'Tis to watch the silver star sinking slowly in the skies, and beyond the mountain far see the glorious sun arise. Little lady, this is why I am mounted up so high. 'Tis to sing a merry song to the pleasant morning light. Why stay in my nest so long when the sun is shining bright? Little lady, this is why I sing so early in the sky. To the little birds below I do sing a merry tune, and let the ploughman know he must come to labour soon. Little lady, this is why I am singing in the sky. By Jean and Anne Taylor. Double A as well. I'm not sure it quite works like that. Or would that be the point where I start doing actual ASMR things rather than just using my voice? Where I start, caressing the microphone and licking it like other streamers do. I'm not doing that. It'd be easy money though. Choosing a name. I've got a newborn sister. I was nigh the first that kissed her, when the nursing woman brought her to Papa, his infant daughter. How Papa's dear eyes did glisten. She will shortly be to christen, and Papa has made the offer. I shall have the naming of her. Now I wonder what please her. Charlotte, Gillian, or Louise? Anne and Mary, they're too common. Joan's too formal for a woman. Jane's a prettier name beside. But we had a Jane that died. They would say, if 'twas Rebecca, that she was a little quacker. Edith's pretty, but that looks better in old English books. Ellen's left long ago. Blanche is out of fashion now. None that I have named as yet are so good as Margaret. Emily is neat and fine. What do you think of Caroline? How I'm puzzled and perplexed what to choose or think of next. I am in a little fever, lest the name that I shall give her should disgrace her or defame her. I will leave Papa to name her. Written by Charles Lamb. Hello, Ivan. How on earth are you today? It's good to see you. Oh no, actually, rather fun to read. I am absolutely happy to read poetry, but you know where to put it. Just let me know as and when. Oh, you got a camera. Ah, the flight one. Yes, I can read that one again. I did notice that Chara followed in your footsteps and now also has an avatar. It'll be interesting to see how the two of you do. Oh, that's quite alright. I'm fairly sure it's up on the YouTube channel that I put these streams to. If you haven't yet, you're in for a treat. I assumed you did. Let's bring this over. Find poetry to read. This one is not from the book that we currently have. This is from our Discord channel that you are quite easily able to find. I will link it in the description of the video when I put it over to YouTube, and it is in the About section of our Twitch. The Discord command should work. There you are, see? Although, Ivan, I'll remind you, I'm trying to keep these PG for YouTube reasons. Interesting, that was the Streamlabs one. I thought I made Nightbot say it. Very strange. Anyway, this is Hive Flight by John Gillespie McGee. I don't know if I said that last name right. But this one is a very nice one. Oh, I have slipped the surly ponds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silver wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence, hovering right, I've chased the shouting wind along, and flung my eager craft through footloose hills of air, walls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew, and while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the highest, untrespassed sanctuary of space, put out my mind, and touched the face of God. I feel bad that I slipped up on that one. I've done it a couple of times now. I shouldn't be slipping up anymore. I didn't even realize you put it there again. You're too kind. Remember, of course, to always remain very comfortable. Every now and then, stretch, move yourself. I am tempted to do a decent amount of reading from a small war poetry book I've got hold on. This one, in fact. And if that was the case, I think you would be quite happy with the results. You're welcome, Ivan. There are some fantastic works in there. It's lovely. In fact, this one that we have open in front of me now is a children's poetry book from, 1922? And it has the Charge of the Valkyrie in it. Not Charge of the Valkyrie, sorry, Charge of the Light Brigade. I'm sure you would, Ivan. I'm sure you would. This one is the Fairy Book, and is quite a short one by Norman Gale. In summer when the grass is thick, if mother has the time, she shows me with a pencil how a poet makes a rhyme. and often she is sweet enough to choose a leafy nook where I cuddle up so closely when she reads the fairy book. In winter, when the corn's asleep and the birds are not in song, and crocus and violets have been away too long, dear mother puts her thimble by in answer to my look, and I cuddle up so closely when she reads the fairy book. And mother tells the servants, that of course they must contrive to manage all the household things from 4 till 5:30, for we really cannot suffer interruption from the cook when we cuddle close together with the happy fairy book. It's rather sweet. I must admit I would very happily just sit and ignore the world reading this stuff. Like, without any hesitation, I'd just do that on a whim. What became of them? This is another short one, but there is no author credited. It is simply going to unknown. Oh, trust me, it's honestly for the best most of the time. You know that. He was a rat, and she was a rat, and down in one hole they did dwell, and both there as black as witch's cat, and they loved one another well. He had a tail, and she had a tail, both long and curly and fine, and each said, "Yours is the finest tail in the world, excepting mine." He smelt the cheese, and she smelt the cheese, and they both pronounced it good, and both remarked it would greatly add to the charms of their daily food. So he ventured out, and she ventured out, and I saw them go with pain. But what befell them I never can tell, for they never came back again. If you do have rats, you'll know this without any question. But if you give mice or rats or something to that effect cheese, it messes with their diet, and their droppings and such will be incredibly pungent. It's better to keep them off of the cheese. Oh, excuse me. Terribly windy today, I'm not sure why. Jemima. There was a little girl, and she wore a little curl right down the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. One day she went upstairs while her parents, unaware, in the kitchen down below, were occupied with meals, and she stood upon her head, on her little truckle's bed, and she then began hurrying with her heels. Hurrying, my apologies. Her mother heard the noise and thought it was the boys, a-playing at a combat in the attic. But when she climbed the stairs, she saw Jemima there. She took, and she did whip her most emphatic. By unknown again. Interesting that she... I wonder if she would have done that for the boys. Snowdrops. Again, another short one. We're getting lots of very short ones. I'll have to open up the other one, the longer poetry, later. Either later today or another day. Little ladies, white and green, with your spears about you, will you tell us where you've been since we lived without you? You're so sweet and fresh and clean, with your pearly faces in the dark earth where you've been. There are wondrous places, yet you come again, serene, when your leaves are hidden, bringing joy from wherever you've been. You return unbidden. Little ladies, white and green, are you glad to cheer us? Hungry not for where you've been, stay till spring be near us. Lawrence Alma Tadma. Tadima. A lovely little one. I must admit, the snowdrops are very nice. And to anyone that's unaware, they are a particular type of plant that just kind of droops its head. It's very sweet. Little Girls by Lajrance Alma. Oh no, that's the same one. It's just got a speck over it, so it's Lawrence Alma Tadma once more. If no one ever marries me, and I don't see why they should, for nurse says I'm not pretty, and I'm seldom very good. If no one ever marries me, I shan't mind very much. I shall buy a squirrel in a cage and a little rabbit hutch. I shall have a cottage near a wood and a pony all my own, and a little lamb quite clean and tame that I can take to town. And when I'm getting really old, at 28 or 9, I shall buy a little orphan girl and bring her up as mine. Oh, you're very old if you're 28 or 29. In the 1920s, that's actually fairly reasonable. A boy's aspirations. That hurts to read that way. I was 4 yesterday. When I'm quite old, I'll have a cricket ball made of pure gold. I'll crave the roast meat and help soup and fish. I'll get my feet wet whenever I wish. I'll never go to bed till 12 o'clock. I'll make a mud pie in a clean frock. I'll whip nightly boys with the new birch. Naughty boys, my apologies. I'll take my guinea pig always to church. Oh my. I'll spend £100 every day. Good Lord. I'll have the elephant quite done away. Alphabet, my apologies. It's one of those days where I can't read. I'll have a parrot without a sharp beak. I'll see a phantom 6 times a week. Pantomime, my apologies. I'll have a rose tree always in bloom. I'll keep a dancing bear in Mamma's room. I'll spoil my best clothes and not care a pin. I'll have no visitors ever let in. I'll go at liberty upstairs or down. I'll pin a dishcloth to the cook's gown. I'll light the candles and ring the big bell. I'll smoke Papa's pipe, feeling quite well. I'll have a ball of string 50 miles long. I'll whistle as loud as the gong. I'll scold the housemaid for making a dirt. I'll cut my fingers without being hurt. I'll have my pinafore quite loose and nice. I'll wear great fishing boots with Captain Rice. I'll have a pot of beer at the girls' tea. I'll have John taught to say thank you to me. I'll never stand up to show that I am grown. No one shall say to me, don't throw a stone. I'll drop my buttered toast on the new chintz. I'll have governess giving me hints. I'll have a nursery up in the stairs. I'll lean through windows without any bars. I'll sail without my nurse in a big boat. I'll have no comforties tied round my throat. Comforters, apologies. I'll have a language with not a word spelled. I'll ride a horseback without being held. I'll hear Mama say, my boy, good as gold, when I'm grown up, man 60 years old. Manala Butte Smaldily. The wishes of the young. Realistically, they're not actually that far off from what they are today, are they? Let Dogs Delight Bark and Bite by Isaac Watts. Let dogs delight to bark and bite, for God hath made them so. Let bears and lions growl and fight, for 'tis their nature to. But, children, you should never let such passions rise. Your little hands were never made to tear each other's eyes. Let love through all your actions run, and all your words be mild. Live like the blessed Virgin Son, that sweet and lovely child. His soul was gentle as a lamb, and as his stature grew, he grew in favour both with men and God his Father too. Now, Lord of all, he reigns above, and above his heavenly throne he sees what children dwell in love, and marks them for his own. I mean, that's actually a rather sweet way of effectively saying what would Jesus do, I suppose. A Christmas visitor. He comes in the night, he comes in the night, he softly, silently comes, while the little brown heads on the pillows so white are dreaming of bugles and drums. He cuts through the snow like a ship through the foam, while the white flakes around him whirl. Who tells him I know not, but he findeth the home of each good little boy and girl. His sleigh it is long and deep and wide. It will carry a host of things, while dozens of drums hang over the side, with the sticks sticking under the strings. And yet not a sound of a drum is heard. Not a bugle blast is blown, as he mounts to the chimney top like a bird, and drops to the hearth like a stone. The little red stocking he silently fills, till the stockings will hold no more. The bright little sled for the great snow hills are quickly set down on the floor. Then Santa Claus mounts to the roof like a bird and glides to his seat in the sleigh. Not a sound of a bugle or drum is heard. As he noiselessly gallops away, he rides to the east and he rides to the west. Of his goodies he touches not one. He eateth the crumbs of the Christmas feast when the dear little folks are done. Old Santa Claus doth all that he can. This beautiful mission is his. Then, children, be good to the little old man when you find who the little man is. Unfortunately, that one's also unknown. The next one is entitled The Lost Doll, and I'm fairly sure that's what our picture is for. I'll just slide that across. There you are. So as you look at that, I'll have a quick drink. Anyway, now to proceed. The text beneath the picture, by the way, read, "I found my poor little doll, dear, as I played on the, heather one day." So it's very clearly Scottish. The Lost Doll from the Water Babies. I once had a sweet little doll, dear, the prettiest doll in the world. Her cheeks were so red and white, dear, and her hair was so charmingly curled. Ooh, my handle was in the way. But I lost my poor little doll, dears, and I played in the heather one day, and I cried for her more than a week, dear, but I never could find where she lay. I found my poor little doll, dear, as I played in the heather one day. Folks say she is horribly changed, dear, for her paint is all washed away, and her arm trodden off by the cows, dear, and her hair not the least bit curled. Yet for old's sake, she is still, dear, the prettiest doll in the world. By Charles Kingsley. We've got the Jumbles again. That's Edward Lear, isn't it? They went to sea in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they went to sea, in spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day. In a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round, and over one cried, "You'll all be drowned!" They called aloud, "Our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button. We don't care a fig. In our sieve we'll go to sea." Far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed away in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea-green veil tied to a riband by the way of a sail, to a small tobacco pipe mast. And everyone said, who saw them go, "Oh, won't they be soon upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what may. It's extremely wrong. in a sieve to sail so fast. Far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green, their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water it soon came in, it did, the water it soon came in. So to keep them dry, they wrapped their feet in a pinky paper all folded neat, and they fastened it down with a pin, and then passed the night in a crockery jar. And each of them said, "How wise we are! Though the sky is dark and the voyage be long, yet we never can think we were rash or wrong. While round in our sieve we spin, far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green, their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve." And all night long they sailed away, and when the sun went down, they whistled and warbled a moony song, to the echoing sound of a cuppering gong, in the shade of the mountain brown. Oh, Timbolo, how happy we are! Timbalo? When we live in a sieve and crockery jar, and all night in the moonlight pale, we sail with a pea-green sail, in the shade of the mountains brown. Far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green, their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed to the western sea, they did, to the land all covered with trees, and they brought an owl and a useful cart, and a pound of rice, and a cranberry tart, and a hive of silvery bees, and they bought a pig, and some green jackdaws, and a lovely monkey with a lollipop paws, and 40 bottles of Ringbo-Ree, and no end of Stilton cheese. Far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green, their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. And in 20 years they all came back, in 20 years or more. And everyone said how tall they've grown, for they've been to the lakes of the terrible zone, and the hills at the Chankly Bore, and they drank their health and gave them a feast of dumplings made of beautiful yeast. And everyone has said, if we only live, we too will go to sea in a sieve, to the hills of Chankly Bore. Far and few are the lands where the Jumbles live. Their heads are green, their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. I'll never not love Edward Lear for that kind of stuff. It's wonderful. This one is My Kingdom. Down by a shining water well, I found a very little doll, no higher than my hand. Terribly sorry. The heather and the gorse about in summer bloom were coming out, some yellow and some red. I called the little pool a sea, the little hills were big to me, for I am very small. I made a boat, I made a town, I searched the carvers up and down, carvens, and named them one and all. And all about was mine, I said, the little sparrows overhead, the little minnows too. This was the world, and I was king. For me the bees came by to sing, for me the swallows flew. I played there were no deep seas, nor any wider plains than these. nor other kings than me. At least I heard my mother call last. Out from the house at eve fall, to call me home to tea, and I must rise and leave my dell, and leave my dimpled water well, and leave my heather blooms, alas, and as my home I neared, how very big my nurse appeared, how great and cool the rooms. That was by Robert Louis Stevenson. This next one is The Spider and the Fly. Go to move the camera quickly, hold on. Just up a touch. There we are. Now I shouldn't hit the microphone. We can actually fit the whole book in, yay. Will you walk into the parlour? Said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlour that ever you did spy. The way into my parlour is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show when you are there. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, to ask me is in vain, for who goes up your windy stairs can ne'er come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around the sheets, are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affections I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good stores of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Oh, no, no, said the little fly, kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your guising wings, how brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking-glass upon my parlour shelf. If you'll stop in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you've pleased to say, and bidding you good morning. Now I'll call another day. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out of his door again, and merrily did sing, Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with the pearl and the silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his wily flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew. thinking only of her brilliant eyes, and green and purple hue, thinking only of the crest head. Poor foolish thing, at last. Up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his windy stair into his dismal den within his little parlour, but she ne'er came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story rode to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you, ne'er give heed unto an evil counsellor close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly, by Mary Howitt. Hello, Eurydice. How are you doing today? And I do hope your cooking goes wonderfully. The Cow and the Ass. Not sure who this one's by. Oh, hang on. Jane Taylor. Beside a green meadow a stream used to flow, so clear you might see the white pebbles below. To this cooling brook the warm cattle would stay, to stand in the shade on a hot summer's day. A cow, quite opposed by the heat of the sun, came here to refresh, as she oft had done, and standing quite still, stooped over the stream, was mushing perhaps, or perhaps she might dream. But soon a brown ass, of respectable look, came trotting up also, to taste of the brook, and to nibble a few of the daisies and grass. "How do you do?" said the cow. "How do you do?" said the ass. "Take a seat," said the cow, gently waving her hand. "By no means, dear madame," said he. "While you stand, then, stooping to drink, with a complacent bow." "Ma'am, your health," said the ass. "Thank you, sir," said the cow. When a few of these compliments more had been passed, they laid themselves down on the herbage at last, and waiting politely as gentlemen must, the ass held his tongue, that the cow might speak first. Then with a deep sigh she directly begun. "Don't you think, Mr. Ass, we are injured by man? 'Tis a subject which lies with weight on my mind. We really are greatly oppressed by mankind. Pray, what is the reason, I see none at all, that I always must go when June chooses to call? Whenever I'm doing 'tis certainly hard, I'm forced to leave off, to be milked in the yard. I've no will of my own, but must do as they please, and give them my milk, make butter and cheese. Sometimes I endeavour to kick down the pail, or give her a box on the ear with my tail. But, ma'am, said the ass, not presuming to teach. Oh, dear, I beg pardon, pray finish your speech. Excuse me, my mistake, said the complacent swine. Go on, and I'll not interrupt you again. Why, sir, I was just then about to observe, those hard-hearted tyrants no longer I'll serve, but leave them for ever to do as they please, and look somewhere else for their butter and cheese. Ass waited a moment his answer to scan, and And then, not presuming to teach, he began. Permit me to say, since my thought you invite, I always saw things in a different light. That you afford man important supply, no ass is in sense would ever deny. But then, in return, 'tis but fair to allow they are of some service to you, Mistress Cow. 'Tis their pleasant meadow in which you repose. They find you in shelter from wintry snows. For comforts like these, we're indebted to man, and for him in return should do all that we can. The cow upon this cast her eyes on the grass, not pleased to be schooled in this way by an ass. Yet, said she to herself, thought he's not very bright. I really believe that the fellow is right. Very much a case of don't bite the hand that feeds you there. 'Tis a shame. This next one is The Pet Lamb. The dew was falling fast. The stars began to blink. I heard a voice. It said, drink, pretty creature, drink. And looking o'er the hedge, before me I espy a snow-white mountain lamb with a maiden at its side. No other sheep were near, the lamb was all alone, and by slender cord was tethered to a stone. With one knee on the grass did the little maiden kneel, while to that mountain lamb she gave its evening meal. The lamb, while from her hand he thus his supper took, seemed to feast with head and ears, and his tail with pleasure shook. Drink, pretty creature, drink, she said in such a tone that I almost received her heart into my own. 'Twas little Barbara Lawthwaite, a child of beauty rare. I watched them with delight. They were a lovely pair. Now with her empty can the maiden turned away, but ere 10 yards were gone her footsteps did she stay. Towards the lamb she looked, and from that shady place I unobserved could see the working of her face. If nature to her tongue could measured number bring, thus, though I to her lamb that little maid might sing. What ails thee, young one, what? Why pull so at thy cord? Is it not well with thee? Well both for bed and board? Thy plot of grass is soft and green as grass can be. Rest, little young one, rest, and it's that aileth thee. What is it thou wouldst seek? What is wanting to thy heart? Thy lambs, are they not strong and beautiful thou art? The grass is tender grass, these flowers, they have no pears, and that green corn all day is rustling in thy ears. If the sun be shining hot, do but stretch thy woolen chain. This beech is standing by, its covert thou canst gain. For rain and mountain storms, the like thou needst no fear. The rain and storm are things that scarcely can come here. Rest, little young one, rest. Thou hast forgotten the day when my father found thee first in place far away. Many flocks were on the hills, but thou wert owned by none, and thy mother from thy side for evermore was gone. He took thee in his arms, and in pity brought thee home. A blessed day for thee, then whither wouldst thou roam? A faithful nurse thou hast, the dam that did thee in, upon the mountain tops no kinder could have been. Thou know'st that 'twas a day I have brought thee in this can, fresh water from the brook, as clear as ever ran, and twice in the day, when the ground is wet with dew, I bring thee daughters of milk, warm milk it is and new. Thy limbs will shortly be twice as stout as they are now. Then I'll yoke thee to my cart like a pony and the plough. My playmate thou shalt be, and when the wind is cold, our hearth shall be thy bed, our house shall be thy fold. It will not rest. Poor creature, can it be that 'tis thy mother's heart which is working so in thee? Things that I know not be belike to thee are dear, and dreams of things which thou canst neither see nor hear. Alas, the mountain's top, that looks so green and fair, I've heard of fearful winds and darkness that comes there, the little brooks that seem all pastime and all play, when they are angry roar like lions for their prey. Here thou needest not dread the raven in the sky. Night and day thou art safe. Our cottage is hard by, why blessed so after me? Why pull so at the chain? Sleep and break of day, I will come to thee again. As homeward thought the lane, I went with lazy feet. This song to myself did I over times repeat. And it seemed, as I retracted the ballad line by line, that but half of it was hers, and one half of it was mine. Again and once again did I repeat the song. Nay, said I, more than half to the damsel must belong. For she looked with such a look, and she spake with such a tone, that I almost received my heart into my own. Of course, that's William Wordsworth's. I do enjoy his work. Harold and Alice, of the Reformed Giant. The giant sat on a rock up high, with the wind in his shaggy hair, and he said, I have drained the dairies dry, and stripped the orchards bare. I have eaten the sheep with the wool on their backs, and nasty giant was he. The eggs and shells, the honey, the wax, the fawls and the cock turkey. And now I think I could eat a score of babies so plump and small. And if after that I should want any more, their brothers and sisters and all. Tomorrow I'll do it. Ha! What was that? Said he, for a sound he heard. Was it a fluttering owl, or pattering rat, or burrow to the breeze that stirred? Oh, it was neither rat nor owl, giant nor shaking leaf. Young Harold was heard from scheme so foul, scheme. And it may come to grief. One thing which you ate, you has escaped your mind, young Harold's guinea pig dear, and he has crept up to to try to find his pet, and he shakes with fear. He has hid himself in a corner, to listen and look about. And if to the village tomorrow you go, you may find the baby's gone out. Now, when to the village came Harold back and told his tale so wild, then every mother she cried, good luck. My child, preserve my child. And every father took his sword and sharpened it on a stone. But little Harold said never a word, having a plan of his own. He laid 6 harrows outside the stile that led to the village green. Then on them little hay did pile, for the prong not to be seen. A toothsome sunken pig he slew, and thereby did it lay. For why? Because young Harold knew the giant would pass that way. Then he went in and said his prayers, not to lie down to sleep, but at his window up and stairs, watching all night did keep, till the little stars all went pale to bed, because the sun was out, and the sky in the east grew dapple red, and the little birds chirped about. Now all the village was early awake, and with short space to pray, their preparations they did make to bear the babies away. The horses were being buckled in, the little ones looked for a ride. When he came, the giant as ugly as sin, with a terrible 6-yard stride. Then every woman and every child to scream aloud began. Young Harold up at his watchtower smiled, and his sword drew every man. For now the giant fierce and big came near to the stile by the green. But when he saw the luscious pig, his lips grew wet between. Now left foot, right foot, step it again, he trod on the harrow's spike. And how he raged and roared with pain he may describe who likes. At last he fell, and as he lay loud bellowing on the ground, the stale water men of the village, they with drawn swords danced around. "Oh, spare my life, I you entreat, I will be a giant good. Oh, take out those thorns that prick my feet, which now are bathed in blood." Then the little village maids did feel for the giant so shaggy-haired, and to their partners they did kneel, saying, let his life be spared. His bleeding wounds the maids did bind, they framed a little they framed a little strong. A litter strong. Odd. With all the hurdles they could find, 6 horses drew him along, and all the way to his castle rude, up high in the piny rocks, he promised to be a giant good, the cruel, crafty fox. "Oh, mother, lend me the largest tub." "Why, daughter, tell me quick." "Oh, mother, make a syllabub for the giant who is sick." Now in fever fit the giant lay from the pain in his wounded feet, and hoping soon would come the day when he might the babies eat. "Oh, mother, dress me in white, I beg, with flowers and pretty gear, for Mary and Marge, and Jess and Peg, and all my playmates dear." We got the giant this afternoon to carry him something nice. A custard 3 times as big as the moon, with sugar and wine and spice. "Oh, daughter, your father shall go with you. Suppose the giant is well and eats you up, what shall we do?" Then her thought did Alice tell. "No, mother dear, we go alone, and heaven for us will care. If the giant's bed has a heart of stone, we will soften it with prayer." Now when the giant saw these maids dressed all in white drew near, he twitched his monstrous shoulder blades and dropped an honest tear. "Dear giant, a syllabub nice we bring, pray let us tuck you in." The giant said, "Sweet innocent thing, oh, I am lump of sin. Go home and say to the man of prayer to make the church door wide, for I next Sunday will be there, and kneel, dears, at your side. Tell the brave young Harold I forgive him for the harrow spikes, and I will do, please heaven I live, what penance the prayer man likes. Set down, my dears, the syllabub, and as I better feel, I'll try and eat a fox cub at my next midday meal." "Hello, my dear guitar, how on earth are you?" "And all my life the village I'll keep from harmful vermin free, but never more will eat the sheep, the honey, or cock turkey." Now Sunday came, in the aisle did kneel the giant tall. The priest could not forbear a smile, the church it looked so small. And as the giant walked away, he knocked off the roof with his head. But he quarried stones on the following day to build another instead, and it was high and broad and long, and 100 years it stood, to tell the giant so cruel and stone that kindness had made good. And when Harold and Alice were married there, a handsome sight was seen, for the bridegroom was brave and the bride was fair. Long live the gracious Queen. This was by W.B. Rands. So how on earth are you, my dear guitar? It's lovely to see you. I need to fix my posture a touch. Reading these all in different voices does mess with my throat, so. Oh, if you miss a Sunday poetry stream, they are all on the YouTube channel that I am slowly trying to amend, I suppose. Anytime I seem to play any music, it gets copyright strike. So I'm doing what I can to try and alleviate that. If you have any particular request, I can see what I can do. I'm very happy to read what others have. Until then, though, we'll go with The Miller of the Dee by Charles Mackay. There dwelt a miller, bale and bond, beside the river Dee. He wrought and sang from morn to night, no lark more blithe than he. And this the burden of the song for every used to be. I envy nobody, no, not I, and nobody envies me. Thou art wrong, my friend, said old King Hal. Thou art wrong as wrong can be. For could my heart be light as thine, I'd gladly change with thee. And tell me now what makes thee sing with a voice so loud and free. While I am sad, thou'st I am the king beside the river Dee. The miller smiled and doffed his cap. I earned my bread, quoth he. I love my wife, and I love my friends. I love my children, 3. I owe no penny I cannot pay. I thank the river Dee. That turns into mill, that grinds the corn, to feed my babies and me. Good friend, said Hal, and sighed the while. Farewell and happy be, but say no more of thou'st be true, that no one envies thee. Thy merely cap is worthy my crown, and thy mill my kingdom's fee. Such man as thou are England's boast. O miller of the Dee. I must admit, I do love these older poems, especially these ones that are more aimed towards children, as it's very much a message that you're supposed to take away from it. It's like the old Winnie the Pooh or something to that effect, where everything has a reason. Like, just because you don't envy anyone doesn't mean no one envies you. A nice, short, simple one there. I'm currently in the process of searching for a few older poets and books to see if I'm able to get history books and that kind of thing in Latin, as I try to teach myself. I'd be thoroughly interested in reading that kind of stuff for stream as well. Right. The Lark and the Rook. Good night, Sir Rook, said little Lark. The daylight fades, it will soon be dark. I've bathed my wings in the sun's last ray. I've sung my hymn to the parting day. So now I haste to my quiet nook in yon dewy meadow. Good night, Sir Rook. Good night, poor Lark, said his tilted friend, with a highly sorry, hearty toss and a distant bend. I also go to my rest profound, but not to sleep on the cold, damp ground. The fittest place for a bird like me is the topmost bough of yon tall pine tree. I opened my eyes at peep of day, and saw you talking your upward way, dreaming your fond romantic dreams, and ugly speak in the sun's bright beams, soaring too high to be seen or heard. And I said to myself, what a foolish bird. I trod the park with a pursely air, I filled my crop with the richest fare. I cowed all day mid a lordly crew, and I made some more noise in the world than you. The sun shone forth on my ebon wing. I looked and wondered. Good night, poor thing. Good night, once more, said the lark's sweet voice. I see no cause to repent my choice. You build your nest in a lofty pine, but it's your slumber more sweet than mine. You make more noise in the world than I, but whose is sweeter, minstrelly? Whose is sweeter? Whose is the sweeter minstrelly? Minstrel. I do not like that word at all. Minstrel. Minstrelsy. Minstrel. And this image is for the next poem. Stay. There's a little cross carved into it. Probably to ID it. Little lamb, who made thee? Doesn't thou know who made thee? I like it. But yes, as I say, we have a channel in the Discord that you are more than free to add poems you request, that kind of thing into. Generally, I will read those out the very next stream. Unless it's your... Anyway, let us read The Lamb. I used to read poetry when I was in elementary in Mexico. Oh, lovely. They didn't actually have us read any poetry until high school, I do believe. I remember doing Shakespeare in middle school, but that was Othello, that was the play rather than his poetical works. Do you have a particular favourite poet? Or era or style? Oh, do take your time, don't worry. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life, and bade thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead. Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly, bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He's called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek, and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child, and thou a lamb. We are called by his names. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. I do not remember William Blake being that religious. His name is Amero Narvo. I haven't read the poetry recently. I'll have to have a look. Hello, my dear. How are you? Control C. And I am going to use my notepad of my dear fiancée and just send that to her. Because that way I will remember. Yes, that's not necessarily encouraging. We've been going for a little while now. What, hour and a half? I'll continue for a while longer, though. The Bears song. From I have no idea what that says. Catonopus. Yeah, I think that's right first time. I'm not going to try again. Oh, the mother, she loves her only son, while he makes eyes at the currenty bun, and the slippery, slimy seaside snake loves soothing syrup and seedy cake. 'Tis nothing to the love I feel for thee, thou little severed seal. The tide may follow the master moon, and the dish run away with the silver spoon. The ice may weep for the noonday sun, and 3 times 7 be 21. 'Tis nothing to the love I feel for thee, thou little Cervery seal. Oh, Cervery seal, with the silent eye, we will feast ourselves on cod liver pie. Oh, yum. Oh, Cervery seal, with the loving heart, we will feast on turnips and treacle tart. Life shall be one unending meal for you and me, my Cervery seal. Written by Judge Perry. Remembering, of course, that everything in this book is older than the only date that I have to reference this, which is 1922. They do feel like they do predate some wars, though. I know there are some in here that are post-World War One. For a start, the Charge of the Light Brigade is in here, because of course it is. It's one of the most famous wartime poems. Now this is a terribly short one. Here, a little child, I stand, heaving up my either hand. Could as paddocks through they be, here I lift them up to thee, for a Benson to fall on our meat and on us all. Amen. Robert Herrick. A Grace for a Child. I would also quite happily read. That's the point. Those of you that are still happily listening and would actually contribute in chat. If I were to get older books, say novels or epics, should I make that a different series to this Sunday night poetry, or should I simply take a break every now and then to make sure there's one then t'other? Because I do wish to read some, again, either poetical epics or the considerably longer novel series. I was looking at one earlier that's, I think, 27 volumes. It's the kind of thing that I would thoroughly enjoy to do. So swap back and forth between them. Say, fortnightly. Just want my voice. Oh. I might have to look into that a little more. You two are terribly sweet. Don't worry, it wasn't taken that way. Hello, Flad. Quite glad I wasn't reading there. I didn't jump, honest. Hello, Ostergath. How are you? Unfortunately, I did dip out of Flad's stream before starting up my own. I'm not sure what he ended up playing. How did he do? Oh, I can understand that. But yes, thank you very much for the raid. Ooh, my dear, you can try out the new command, the exclamation mark SO and VR fled. And while we do that, I will begin reading Lady Moon. Flad, if there is something you wish me to read, you can either message me on Discord or whisper here, and I will happily do so. Thank you, my dear. So if there is anyone here that doesn't already follow Flad, do so. He is a fantastic person who plays some wonderful games. And it's almost all, no, I'm fairly sure it is actually all VR games. They are tremendous. And he has a very, very kind community. I never feel unwelcome there. What games made to try to work in VR? Yes, some of them you do have to do some background work, don't you? For, say, I saw you on Minecraft a while ago. That was one of the ones you had to alter, I believe. But no, I've got to respect it, it's fantastic craft. And I desperately want to get VR for myself. So this is Lady Moon from the I See the Moon. Oh, it's a adaptation, I think. Lady Moon, where are you roving? Over the sea? Lady Moon, where are you loving all that love me? Are you not tired with rolling and never resting to sleep? Why look so pale and so sad, as forever wishing to weep? Ask me not this, little child, if you love me. You are too bold. I must obey my father above me, and do as I am told. Lady Moon, where are you roving over the sea? Lady Moon, whom are you loving, all that love me? And that was by Lord Hewington. Doom 3 BFG tonight. Oh, of course, yes. I'll have to watch the VOD for that. I love Doom. Need some tweaking. Oh, I bet. Feel free to message me anything to discuss VR. Good luck with the rest of your stream. Oh, trust me, I've got to save up the money before I can do that kind of thing. But you know I would. In time, I will. I'll probably be in America by that time, though. 7 times 1. There's no dew left on the daisies and clover. There's no rain left in heaven. I've said my 7 times over and over, 7 times 1 ere 7. I am old, so old. I can write a letter, my birthday lessons are done. The lambs play always, they know no better. They are only 1 times 1. O moon, in the night I have seen you sailing and shining so round and low. You are bright, bright, but your light is failing. You are nothing now but a bow. You moon, have you done something wrong in heaven, that God is hiding your face? I hope if you have, you will soon be forgiven, and shine again in your place. O valiant bee, you're a dusty fellow. You've powdered your legs with gold. O brave marsh, merry buds, rich and yellow, give me the money to hold. O Columbian, open your golden wrapper, where 2 twine turtle doves dwell. O Cockerpoint, toil me in the purple chapel that hangs in your clear green bell. That's 2. And show me your nest with the young ones in it. I will not steal them away. I am old. You may trust me. Lynette, Lynette, I am 7 times 1 today. By Jane Ingelow. As I was saying earlier, the older poetry just seems to have a different flow to it, a completely different feel. It just often feels so very loving, even in some of the more disturbing entries. How are we all today? As I take a quick drink. Very nice. Shame it's a bit cold now. I need to get one of those really big cups. Not that would keep the liquid any hotter. Try again. I will have to rub that out. King Bruce of Scotland flung himself down in a lonely mood to think. 'Tis true he was monarch and wore a crown, but his heart was beginning to sink. For he had been trying to do a great deed to make his people glad. He had tried and tried, but couldn't succeed, and so he became quite sad. He flung himself down in low despair, as aggrieved as man could be. And after a while, as he pondered there, I'll give it all up, said he. Now just at that moment a spider dropped with a silken filming clue, and the king in the midst of his thinking stopped to see what the spider would do. 'Twas a long way up to the ceiling dome, and it hung by a rope so fine, and how it would get to its cobweb home, King Bruce could not divine. It soon began to cling and crawl straight up the strong endeavour, but down it came with slippery sprawl, as nearly the ground as ever. Up, up it ran, not a second to stay, to utter the least complaint, till it fell lower, and there it lay, a little dizzy and faint. Its head grew steady, again it went, and travelled a half-yard higher. 'Twas a delicate thread it had to tread, and a road where its feet would tire. Again it fell and swung below, but again it quickly mounted, till up and down, now fast, now slow, 9 brave attempts were counted. Sure, cried King, that foolish thing will strive no more to climb. When it toils so hard to reach the cling, but tumbles every time. But up the insect went one more. Ah, me! 'Tis an anxious minute. He's only a foot from the cobweb door. Oh, say, will he lose or win it? Steadily, steadily, inch by inch, higher and higher he got, and bold little run at the very last pinch, but him into the native cot. Bravo! Bravo! The king cried out. All honour to those who try. The spider up there defied despair. He conquered, and why shouldn't I? And Bruce of Scotland braced his mind and gasped gossips tell the tale, that he tried once more, and he tried before, and that time did not fail. Pay goodly heed, all ye who read, and beware of saying, I can't. 'Tis a cowardly word, and apt to lead to idleness, folly, and want, whenever you find your heart despair of doing some goodly thing. Gone over this drain, try braving again, and remember the spider and the king. Written by Eliza Cook. Going to get to bed soon. We'll probably continue listening. I hope you do sleep well when you go. And your presence is always welcome here. You know that. Time for a shower and head off to bed myself. Take care, everyone. See you around, Flad. It's always nice in your company. A Lesson for Mama by Sydney Dyer. Dear Mother, if you just could be a little girl like me, and I your mother, you would see how nice I'd be to you. I'd always let you have your way. I'd never frown at you and say, you're behaving ill today. Such conduct will not do. I'd always give you jelly cake for breakfast. I'd never shake my head and say, you must not take such very large slice. I'd never say, my dear, I trust you will not make me say, you must eat your oatmeal, or the crust you'll find is very nice. I'd buy you candy every day. I'd go downtown with you and say, what would my darling like? You may have anything you see. I'd never say, my pet, you know 'tis bad for your health and teeth, and so I cannot have it. No, it would be wrong in me. And every day I'd let you wear your nicest dress, and never care if it should get a great big tear. I'd only say to you, my precious treasure, never mind, for little clothes will tear, I find. Now, Mother, wouldn't that be kind? That's just what I should do. I'd never say, well, just a few. I'd let you stop your lessons too. I'd say they're too hard for you, poor child, to understand. I'd put the books and the slates away. You shouldn't do a thing but play. And have a party every day. Wouldn't that be grand? But, mother, dear, you cannot grow into a little girl, you know, and I cannot be your mother, so the only thing to do is just for you to try and see how very, very nice 'twould be for you to do all this for me. Now, mother, couldn't you? Little spoiled child. She means well, but you cannot do everything for a child in such manner. And this is to J.H. by Leah Hunt. 4 years old, a nursery song. One cannot turn a minute but mischief. There you're in it. A-getting at my books, John, with mighty bustling looks, John, or poking at the roses, in midst of which your nose is, or climbing on the table, no matter how unstable, and turning up your quaint eye, and half-shut teeth with mind eye. Or else you're off to play, John, just as you'd be all day, John, with hat or not as happens, and those your dance and your clap hands, or on the grass go rolling, or plunking flowers, or bowling, and getting my expenses with losing balls o'er fences, and see what flowers the weather has rendered fit to gather, and when the home must jog you, shall ride my back, you rough you, your hat adorned with fir leaves, horse chestnuts, oaks, and vine leaves, and so with green o'erhead, John, shall whistle home to bed, John. But see, the sun shines brightly, come put your hat on rightly, and wheel among the bushes, and hear your friends the thrushes. Oh, that was very sweet. As ever, little children know ever so well what they want and what they must. And that's ever such a nice little sing-songy way of doing it. This one is a night with a wolf. Little one, come to my knee. Hark, the rain is pouring over the roof. In the pitch-black night, and the wind in the woods are roaring. Hush, my darling, and listen, then pay for the story with kisses. Father was lost in the pitch-black night, in just such a storm as this is. High up on the lonely mountains, where the wild man watched and waited, wolves in the forest and bears in the bush, and I on the path belated. The rain and the night together come down, and the wind came after, bending the props of the pine-tree roof and snapping many a rafter. I crept along the darkness, stunned and bruised and blinded, crept to a fir with a thick-set boughs, and a shelter rock behind it. There from the blowing rain, crouching I sought to hide me. Something rustled, 2 green eyes shone, and a wolf lay down beside me. Little one, be not frightened. I and the wolf together, side by side, through the long, long night, hid from the awful weather. His wet fur pressed against me. Each of us warmed the other,
Each of us felt, in the stormy dark, that beast and man was brother. And when the falling forest no longer crushed in warning, each of us went from our hiding place, forth in the wild, wet morning. Darling, kiss me in payment. Hark, how the wind is roaring. Father's house is a better place. Father's house is a better place when the stormy rain is pouring. That was by Bayard Taylor. A lovely little story. Now, we're actually covering a few that I've already done once before, so I'm going to skip ahead a touch. I know we've done Home for the Holidays. We've not done Jack Frost, so we'll do Jack Frost next. The door was shut, as doors should be, before you went to bed last night, yet Jack Frost has got in, you see. You left your window silver white. He must have waited till you slept, and not a single word he spoke. But penciled o'er the panes, and crept away again before you woke. And now you cannot see the trees nor fields that stretch beyond the lane, but there are fairier things than these. His fingers traced on every pane, rocks and castles towards towering high, hills and dales are streams and fields. The knights in the armory riding by with nodding plumes and shining shields. And here little boats, and there big ships, with sails spread to the breeze. And yonder palm tree waving fair on islands set in silver seas, and butterflies with gazy wings, and herds of cows and flocks of sheep, and fruit and flowers and all the things you see when you are surround asleep. For creeping softly underneath the door when all the lights are out, Jack Frost takes every breath you breathe and knows the things you think about. He paints them on the window pane in fairy lines with frozen steam, and when you wake, you see again the lovely things you saw in dreams. That was by Carlyle Seton. Now, as ever, I know these are written for children, but aren't they lovely? I'm not actually sure who I'd class my favourite poet. I mean, of course, Edgar Allan Poe is up there because he's fun to read. He has a way with the words that just makes them bouncy and enjoyable, regardless of the topic. There's Williams, Blake, Wordsworth, and Shakespeare that are enjoyable, but they don't have such a flow. Shakespeare is tremendous for his character development and growth through a story. I'm not such a fan of his poetical works. Blake is much more blunt and to the point, less imaginative. Wordsworth, he has fun with it, but he has fun in such a way that I would, in not caring about rules of poetry. I mean that it comes with reading for children. The ones for them are designed to be in a certain way. Edward Lear, I'm going to have to find some of his books, because those are very repetitive and enjoyable. One moment. I've been sent a link and I've been told not to watch it during the stream. That'll happen later. On to Robert of Lincoln. Merely swinging on briar and weed near the nest of the little dame, over the mountain side or the mead, Robert Lincoln is telling his name. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink, snug and safe is the neat of ours, hidden among the summer flowers. Chee, 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 Robert of Lincoln is gaily dressed, wearing a bright wedding coat. White are his shoulders and white his crest. Hear him call in a merry note, Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. Look, what a nice new coat of mine. Sure there never was bird so fine. Chee, 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 Robert of Lincoln's Quaker wife, pretty and quiet, with plain brown wings, passing at home a patient life, broods in the grass while her husband sings, Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. Brood, kind creature, you need not fear thieves and robbers while I am here. Chee, chee, chee. Modest and shy, as a nun is she. One weak chirp is her only note. Brigard and prince of brigards is he, pouring boasts from little throat. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. Never was I afraid of man. Catch me, cowardly knaves, if you can. Chee, chee, chee. Robert of Lincoln at length is made sober with work and silent with care. Of his holiday garment laid, half forgotten that merry air. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. Nobody knows but my mate and I where our nest and our nestlings lie. Nestlings. Chee, chee, chee. 6 white eggs on a bed they lay, a bed of hay, flecked with purple and pretty sight. There's the mother sits all day. Robert is singing with all his might. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. Nice good wife that never goes out, keeping house while I frolic about. Chee, chee, chee. Soon the little ones eat and shell. 6 wide mouths are open for food. Robert of Lincoln best tries him well, gathering seeds for the hungry brood. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. This new life is likely to be hard for a gay young fellow like me. Chee, chee, chee. Summer wanes, the children are grown, fun and frolic no more he knows. Robert Lincoln's a humdrum crone. Off he flies, and we sing as he goes. Bob o' Link, Bob o' Link, spink, spank, spink. when you can pipe that merry old strain. Robert of Lincoln, come back again. Chee, chee, chee. By William Cullen Bryant. Food has been consumed and tea is poured. I can finally relax. Aw. I do hope you enjoyed your meal. You did remind me that I still have tea, though. Only a touch left, though. I'm not sure that one's appropriate for today. I do need to get some more remotes, though. I have got one planned with the missus. Very much obviously a dove, but more of the spread of love variant. Relax. Don't do it. When you want to come, go through it. And anyone that knows what I'm referencing there, congratulations. It's a very old song. I say very old. What, 80s? The Sparrow's Nest. Nay, only look what I have found, a sparrow's nest upon the ground, a sparrow's nest, as you may see, blown out of yonder old elm tree. And what a medley thing it is! I never saw a nest like this, not neatly wove with decent care, or silvery moss and shaving hair, but put together odds and ends picked up from enemies and friends. See, bits of thread and bits of rag, just like a little rubbish bag. Here's a scrap of red brown, like the old washerwoman's gown. And here, in muslin pink and green, and bits of calicon between. Oh, never think the lady fair, as she goes by with dainty air, how the pert sparrow overheard was robbed her crown and made its bed. See hair of dog and fur of cat, and roving of worsted mat, and shreds of silk and many a feather, compacted cunningly together. Well, here has holding been, and hiving, and not a little good contriving, before a home of peace and ease was fashioned out of things like these. Think, had these odds and ends been through to some wise man, renowned for thought, some man of a man, a very gem. Pray, what could have been done with them? If we had said, Hair, sir, we bring you many worthless little things, just bits and scraps so very small that they have scarcely size at all, and out of these you must contrive a dwelling large enough for 5. Neat, warm, and snug, with comfort stored, where the 5 small things may lodge and board. How would the man, learning vast, have been astonished and aghast, and vowed that such a thing had been ne'er heard of, though of thought of, much less seen. Ah, man of learning, you are wrong. Instinct is more than wisdom. Strong, and he who made this sparrow taught this skill beyond the reach of thought. And here is the uncostly nest, 5 little creatures have been blessed. Nor have kings known in palaces half their contentedness. Ah, that's how that's spelled. In this poor, simple dwelling as it is. It was by Mary Howitt. Squirrels are sweet. Squirrels are sweet. But that was about sparrows, which are very much along the same kind of line. How are you, child? It's good to see you. I think I need to reposition quickly. I always end up sitting on my leg in the streams. It's very bad for my circulation. Hot Wheels Unleashed. Oh, I get linked to some very odd things. The grey squirrels will now be what is red. I'm not a fan of grey squirrels, I'll very much point that out. I'm in a part of the world where we still have red squirrels, and if a grey squirrel makes it over here, we have to consider it a pest, and we have to get rid of it, because it will kill our local red squirrels. So there's some fun trivia for you. Ironically, you can actually work out where I am from that. When in my youth I travelled throughout each north country, many a strange thing did I hear, and many a strange thing see. But north was there that pleased me more. But nothing was there that pleased me more than when in autumn brown I came to the depths of the pathless woods, to the grey squirrels down. There were hundreds that in the hollow holes of the old trees did dwell, and laid up store hard by their door of the sweet mast as it fell. But soon the hungry wild swine came, and with thievish snouts dug up their buried treasures, and left them not so much as an acorn cup. Then did they chatter in angry mood, and one and all decree into the forests of rich stone pine, over hill and dale to flee. Over hill and dale, over hill and dale, for many a league they went, like troops of undaunted travellers, governed by one consent. But the hawk and eagle and peering owl did dreadfully pursue, and the further the grey squirrels went, the more their perils grew. When lo, to cut off the pilgrimage, a broad stream lay in view. Ooh. Many thanks for the follow, Dark Eagle. I hope you are well. But then did each wondrous creature show his cunning and bravery, with a piece of the pine bark in his mouth. Unto the stream he came, and boldly his little bark he launched without the least delay. His bushy tail was upright sail, and he merely steered away. Never was there a lovelier sight than that grey squirrel's fleet, and the anxious eyes I watched to see what fortune it would meet. Many thanks as well. Oh, I'm going to struggle with your name. Matter Susan? I'll go with that. And indeed, a little O70 as well. Little tiny salute. I like that one. Soon had they reached the roughs midstream, and even and anon I graved as hard as behold some small bark wrecked and its little steersman gone. But the main fleet stoutly held across. I saw them leap to shore, then enter the woods with a cry of joy, for their perilous march was over. William Howitt.
I think that's going to be another one that I have to look up. I've not heard of William Howitt other than this one. I do enjoy that poetry, though. It's just the right side of bizarre. There is no need to thank me, but I do appreciate each time you guys pop through. I like bringing the older books back to life, and the more I can bring it to, the happier I am. And now I'm all out of tea. Darn. But as I say, if you lot wish for a particular poem read, do feel free to join our Discord. There is a channel there that is poems to read on stream. And if you simply put the poem you wish, that will be read most likely by the next Sunday. On the next Sunday, let's be honest. But do feel free to come by and participate. I do enjoy reading what you lot give. Hello, Chara. How are you? And let's be honest, Chara, you come back here for my voice as well. The village blacksmith. Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinew hands, and the muscles on his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long, his face is like the tan. His brow is wet with honest sweat, he earns whate'er he can. Oh, excuse me, terribly sorry. And looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow. You can hear him swing his heavy sledge, with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bell. Sexton. When the evening sun is low, the children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see the flaming forge and hear the bellows roar, and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from the thrashing floor. He goes on Sunday to church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. It sounds to him like her mother's voice, singing in paradise. He needs must think of her once more, how in the grave she lies, and with his hard, rough hand he wipes a tear from his eyes. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees some task begun, each evening sees it close. Something attempted, something done, he's earned a night's repose. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lesson thou hast taught.
Thus, at the flaming forge of life, our fortunes must be wrought. Thus, on the sundering anvil, shaped each burning deed and thought. By Henry W. Longfellow. Okay, I'm barely seeing that channel. Oh, my dear. I will refund the ASMR at some point, because we're not doing ASMR in an ASMR stream, because that's just more of the same. Besides, there's only so sultry I can speak. As I said to Rabbit Hyena, the next thing I'll have to do if you do that kind of thing is start licking the microphone, and I don't want to do that. Oh, I can understand why you'd be half dead after a 12-hour stream. My word. I apologize, one moment, please. Take this time to acquire yourself a drink or something of such nature. I will do so for myself.
I'm sure not every blacksmith is a bad guy. And in his defense, he should continue to hammer while speaking to clients. Ensure that there is no delay. In the time I was gone, the cat decided to join me. Let's see how long it takes before he gets on the camera. He always seems to. Anyway. He's happy. And that's what is important. Oops. This one is Queen Mab by Thomas Hood. A little fairy comes at night. Her eyes are blue, her hair is brown, with silver spots upon her wings, and from the moon she flutters down. She has a little silver wand, and when a good child goes to bed, she waves her wand from right to left, and makes a circle round its head. And then it dreams of pleasant things, of fountains filled with fairy fish, and trees that bear delicious fruit, and bow their arches at a wish. Took me a moment to go bow or bow. Of air brawls, filled with dainty scents, from lovely flowers that never fade, bright flies that glitter in the sun, and glowworms shining in the shade, and talking birds with gifted tongues for singing songs and telling tales, and pretty dwarfs to show the way through fairy hills and fairy dales. But when a bad child goes to bed, from left to right she waves her rings, and then it dreams all through the night of only ugly, horrid things. Then lions come with gleaming eyes, and tigers growl, a dreadful noise. And ogres draw their cruel knives to shed the blood of girls and boys. Apologies. We will just be a moment. I do apologize about this. Right, sorry about that. Then stormy waves crash on to drown. On raging flames come scorching rounds, fierce dragon hovering in the air, serpent crawl along the ground. Then wicked children wake and weep, and wish the long black gloom away. But good ones love the dark, and find the night as pleasant as the day. The Camel's Hump. The camel's hump is an ugly lump, which well you may see at the zoo,
But uglier yet is the hump we get from having too little to do. Kiddies and grown-ups, too. If you haven't enough to do, we get the hump. Camellias hump. The hump that is black and blue. We climb out of bed with a frizzly head and snarl yarl voice. We shiver and scowl, and we grunt and we growl at our bath and our boots and our toys. And there ought to be a corner for me, and I know there is one for you. When we get the hump, Camillus hump, the hump that is black and blue. The cure for this ill is not to sit still or frost with the book by the fire, but to take a large hoe and a shovel also, and dig till you'll gently perspire. Missing it. There we go. And then you will find that the sun and the wind and the Dijon of the garden too, have lifted the hump, the horrible hump, the hump that is black and blue. I get it as well as you do. As well as you. If I haven't enough to do, we all get the hump. Camilla's hump. Kiddies and grown-ups do. By Rudyard Kipling. And very obviously this this picture is for such a thing. I do like that the fairy is very much lifting that off of him. Lifted the hump, the horrible hump, the hump that is black and blue. Very much purple shades in it though. But isn't it pretty? The bad boy. Once a little round-eyed lad, determined to be very bad. He called his porridge nasty pap, and threw it all in nurse's lap. His gentle sister's cheek he hurt, he smudged his pinny in the dirt. He found the bellows and he blew the pet canary right in two. Pet canary. Sorry. And when he went to bed at night, he would not say his prayers all right. This pained a lovely twinkling star that watched the trouble from afar. She told her bright-faced friends, and soon the dreadful rumour reached the moon. The moon, a gossiping old dame, told father's son the bad boy's shame. And then the giant sun began a very satisfactory plan. Upon the naughty rebel's face he would not pour his beamy grace. He would not stroke the dark brown strands with entertaining shiny hands. The little garden of the boy seemed desert, missing heaven's joy. But all his sister's tulips grew magnificent with shine and dew. Where'er he went, he found a shade, but light was poured all round the maid. Poured upon the maid. What is wrong? He also lost, by his disgrace, that indoors sun, his mother's face. His father sent him to bed with neither kiss nor pat forehead. And in his sleep he had such foes. Bad fairies pinched his curling toes. They bit his ears, they pulled his hairs, they threw him 3 times down the stairs. Oh, little boys who would not miss a father's and mother's kiss, who would not cease to who would not cause a sister pain, who want the sun to shine again, who want sweet beams to tend the plot, where grows the pet forget-me-not, who hate a life of streaming eyes. Be good, be merry, and be wise, by Norman Gale. The bells, 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 hump, hump, the hump. I was thinking it. Just for you, my dear, next week we shall do the bells. Because I know you do enjoy that one, and I just go a little stir-crazy in it. I think I'll get to 3 hours, and then I will raid someone. Annoyingly amusing. I'm okay with that. So we have another half hour of poetry to go, and then we will find someone to grace our presence upon. I realise how that sounds. That's not quite how I meant it. Whoops. The fairies. Up the airy mountains, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, some make their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam. Some of the reeds of the Black Mountain Lake, with frogs of their watchdogs all night awake. High on the hilltop the old king sits. He's now so old and grey, he's nigh lost his wits. With the bridge of his white mist, Columkill he crosses on the steadly journeys from Silver Lake to Roses, or going up the music on cold starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget for 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back. Between the night and the morrow they thought she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. They have kept her ever since, deep within the lake, on a bed of flag leaves, watching till she wake. By the craggy hillside, through the mosses bare, they have planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig them up in spite? He shall find their sharpened thorns in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go hunting for fear little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. By William Allenham. I can't help but slip into accents with some of them. They gently force you. My back is not heavy. The sluggard. 'Tis the voice of the sluggard, I heard him complain. You have waked me too soon, I must slumber again. As the door on this hinges, so he on his bed turns his sides and his shoulders and his heavy head. A little more sleep and a little more slumber. Thus he wastes half his day and his hours without number. And when he gets up, he sits folding his hands, or walks about, sauntering, or trifling he stands. I passed by his garden and saw the wild briar. The thorn and the thistle grow broader and higher. The clothes that hang on him are turning to rags, and his money still wastes till he starves or he begs. I made him a visit, still hoping to find that he took better care for improving his mind. He told me his dreams talked of eating and drinking, but he scarce reads the Bible and never loves thinking. Said I then to my heart, here's a lesson for me. This man's but a picture of what I might be. But thanks to my friends for their care in my breeding, who taught me betimes to love working and reading. Written by Isaac Watts. I am not sure why I'm getting such odd gas. It just won't escape my throat. I'm not sure why. Odd. Anyway, that was that one. The wind in the frolic. In a frolic. The wind one morning sprang up from sleep, saying, now for a frolic, now for a leap, now for a madcap galloping chase. I'll make a commotion in every place. So it swept with bustle right through a great town, cracking the signs and scattering down shutters and whisking with merciless squalls old women's bonnets and gingerbread stools. There never was heard of much lustier shout as the apples and oranges trundled about, and the urchins that stand with their thievish eyes forever on watch ran off each with a prize. Then away to the fields it went, blustering and humming, and the cattle all wondered what monster was coming. It plucked by the tails and gave matronly cows, and tossed the colts, manes all over their brows, till offended at such an unusual salute, they all turned their backs and stood sulking and mute. So on it went, capering and playing its pranks, whistling and with reeds on the broad river banks, puffing the birds as they sat on their spray. Or the traveller gave on the king's highway. It was not too nice to hassle the bags of the beggar and flatter his dirty rags. 'Twas so bold that it feared not to play its jokes with the doctor's wig or the gentleman's cloak. Through the forest it roared and cried gaily, now, you sturdy old oaks, I'll make you bow. And it made them bow without more ado. or it cracked their great branches through and through. Then it rushed like a monster on cottage and farm, and they ran out like bees in a midsummer swarm. There were dames with their kerchiefs tied over their capes, to see the poultry were free from the mishaps. Turkeys they gobbled and geese screamed aloud, and the hens crept to roost in the terrified crowd. There were rearing of ladders, and logs were laid on, where the thatch from the roof threatened soon to be gone. But the wind had swept on, and might in a lane with a schoolboy who panted and struggled in vain, for it tossed him, twirled him, then passed, and he stood, with his hat in a pool and his shoes in the mud. Poor git. Then away went the wind in its holiday glee, and now it was far on the billowy sea, and the lordly ships felt its staggering blow, and the little boats darted to and fro. But lo, it was night, and it sank to rest on the sea-bird's rock, on the glimmering west. Laughing to think it's the frolicsome fun, how little of mischief it really had done. By William Howitt. I mean, it sounds like it got up to a great deal. Very strange. I must admit, though, I do adore watching the effects of wind on crops. Like, if you're on a hill and you see field after field after field, you can watch the patterns of the wind, and it's mesmerizing. I mean, it's almost identical to watching over a large body of water, sitting at the coastline looking out to sea. Oh, I miss doing this. I need to get back onto the bike. Robin Redbreast by William Allenham. Goodbye, goodbye to summer, for summer's nearly done. The garden smiling faintly, cool breezes in the sun. Our thrushes now are silent, our swallows flown away, but robin's here in coat of brown, and ruby breast not gay. Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh, Robin dear, Robin singing sweetly in the falling of the year. Bright yellow, red, and orange, the leaves come down in hosts. The trees are Indian princes, but soon they'll turn to ghosts. The scanty pears and apples hang rustle on the burr. Berg. It's autumn, autumn, autumn late. 'Twill soon be winter now. Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh, Robin dear, and well away, my Robin, for pinching times are near. The fireside for the cricket, wheat stack for the mouse. Then the trembling night winds whistle and moan all round the house. The frosty ways like iron, the branches plumped with snow. Alas, the winter dead and dark, where can poor Robin go? Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh, Robin dear, and a crumb of bread for Robin, his little heart to cheer. Oh, I like that one. I actually really adore robins. I like birds. I don't like them in the house, but I like birds. And if I didn't have a cat, I would have a bird feeder, and I would sit there and watch it all the day through. We've got, I think, a robin, a finch, some magpies that come by. Obviously, lots of seagulls and pigeons, but they hardly count. It is tremendous seeing them, though. They have such great colour. The seagull. Oh, the white seagull, the wild seagull, a joyful bird is he, as he lies like a cradled thing at rest in arms of a sunny sea. The little waves rock and fro, and the white gull lies asleep, as the fishers bark. With breeze and tide goes merrily over the deep. The ship with her fair sails sets, goes by, and the people stand to note how the seagull sits on the rocky waves, as if anchored boat. And sea is fresh, the sea is fair, and the sky calm overhead, and the seagull lies on the deep, deep sea, like a king in his royal bed. Oh, the white seagull, the bold seagull, a joyful bird is he, throned like a king in calm repose of the breast of the heaven sea. The waves leap up, the wild wind blows, and the gull together crowd, and wheel about, and madly scream to the deep sea roaring loud. And let the sea roar ever so loud, and the winds pipe ever so high, with wilder joy. The bold seagull sends forth a wilder cry. For the seagull, he is a daring bird, and he loves with the storm to sail, to ride in the strength of the billowy sea, and to breast the driving gale. The little boat, she is tossed about like a seaweed, to and fro. The tall ship reels like a drunken man as it gusty tempest blows, but the seagull laughs at the fear of man, and the seas in the wild delight on the torn up breast of the night black sea, like a foam cloud, calm and white. The waves may rage and the winds may roar, but he fears not wrecking nor need, for the rides the sea in its stormy strength. As a strange man rides his steed. Oh, the white seagull, the bold seagull, he makes on the shore his nest, and he tries what the inland fields may be, but he loveth the sea the best. And away from land 1,000 leagues he goes mid surging foam. What matter him is land or shore, for the sea is the truest home. And how the north mid-iced rocks stern, and amid the frozen snow, to sea that is lone and desolate, will the wanton seagull go. For he careth not for the winter wild, nor these desert regions chill. In the midst of the cold, as on calm blue seas, the seagull hath his will, and the dead whale lies on the northern shores, and the seal and the seahorse grim, and the death of the great sea creature makes a full merry feast for him. Oh, the wild seagull, the bold seagull, as he screams in his wailing flight, as he sits on the waves in storm or calm, all cometh to him all right, all cometh to him as he liketh best, nor any his will gainsay, and he rides on the waves like a bold young king,
That was crowned but yesterday. That was by Mary Howard, who I'm assuming is William Howard's wife. Have you ever seen the seagulls that only eat McDonald's fries? Those guys are, yeah, they're massive. As I say, I live very close to the coast. We get a lot of birds coming inland. We don't have any of those signs saying don't feed the birds, because no matter what happens, we know they're going to get food anyway. We don't have the ones that steal the food from your hand, though, because they're just so used to people throwing food for them. So they just patiently wait and get fed, get fatter, and scream all the year round. Now, I know I said, it's 9 minutes. We can carry on. Sir, my heart's in the Highlands. Actually, before I do that, this one hits me hard because I'm very much a person that's uncomfortable most of the time. The only real comfort I've felt is when entirely isolated in wilderness. Either on a bicycle in a forest or on a kayak at sea, even on a boat alone at sea, is when I felt most calm. I mean, that's not including the time with my dear fiancée, but those are the only times I've been truly comfortable, truly at peace in any resemblance of it. And I can't wait for the nicer weather to come back so I can get back on the water. I truly miss it with all my heart. And I can't wait until all this isolation is halted. Because isolation with people is not the same. Anyway, my heart's in the Highlands. My heart's in the Highlands. My heart's not here. My heart's in the Highlands, chasing the deer. Chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highland wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the North, the birthplace of valour, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands, forever I love. Farewell to the mountains high covered with snow, farewell to the strengths and green valleys below. Straits. Farewell to the forests, wild hanging woods, farewell to the torrents and loud pouring floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, where'er I go. That was by Robert Burns, and that's very much how I feel. As I say, I'm happy where I am. I'm reasonably comfortable. I've got everything I need. I've got most of what I want. But this is not where I long to be. Now all I can think of is Moana. Because that captured it very well as well, actually. I'm getting that itch to just go. To just ditch everything and leave. And that's a very difficult thing to fight. Because the way I want to go, I am unable to. For the moment I do, I shall be villain to country known. Where'er I go, I welcome not. For I, heart of pure, shan't bring much
for thine. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. My head's going a place that I don't want to let it. And if I continue and these poems continue the way they currently are, there won't be any coming back for a while. Terribly sorry. Who's online at the moment? I know who we're reading.
Ones made with pub-style steak.
I thought seagulls excessively ate McDonald's fries. They do indeed. Exclusively, sorry. They do if they can get their hands on it. They also like those buckets, you know, the red and white ones. But as ever, it has been wonderful reading with you, and I do hope to see you back for next week. To anyone that is going to sleep, I hope you have a tremendous night. Oh, the name of this book is The Golden... Yeah, it's faded. Hold on. The Golden Staircase. Poetry for Children by Louis Chisel. Hold on. That one doesn't come through well either. Is that anywhere else? I do apologise, but I would highly recommend that you go through charity shops and second-hand stores, that kind of stuff, to find books such as this. I think I paid, what, $4.99 to it? Maybe $2.99. Some ridiculously low price for beautiful history. Oh, I adore books like this, and it has fantastic little true illustrations. They're ever so nice. And it's back in the day where they couldn't print word on the same page as a printed picture. So the reverse is always empty. As I say, I'm looking to get more books and older poetry for not only myself but to share with everyone, because I feel that losing this history is, without a doubt, the worst thing we can do. Anyway, till next time, I'm actually going to set up that raid because I forgot to click it. There. I'm sending you to one of our own, and I do hope you spread the love. I hope that in your everyday life, you endeavour to spread love, ne'er hate. And to each of you, I wish a wonderful night. Ta-ra.